Welcome back, friends. Last Scarf here. Hey. We are doing another vlog. So, hello, all 10 of you. Okay, so, yeah. Here's the thing. The question is, what number is enough for any concept? This is going to go very roundabout to something, but real quick. What number is enough for any concept? How many, and this can be zero for people, like, how many innocent people are you willing to send to prison to catch killers? Thinking about the legal system in America, we arrest a lot of our population, like a lot of it, right? And so I wonder how many, this guy might be it, he might not be, we might be sending an innocent man to prison. How many times is that okay to send awful people to prison because there just wasn't enough evidence, so they had to make things up to make it work out? Like, how many is that number? Is it 0? Is it 1? Is it 2? Like, for every 100 awful people who would ruin many lives, how many people is okay? I really don't know how to answer that question. This is like something to ask in ethics and things like that. What is okay? It's just to more make you think about things and realize, well, geez. Honestly, I think ethics, like, their ethics is to make you understand just how great everything is, but that there is a line. And you should seek the line. So, also the slowness of ethics. So, like, we could find the cure for some disease, but we have to sacrifice, like, hundreds of lives to get there. Well, how many lives are we going to save? How many lives are we going to sacrifice for it? Etc., etc., etc. Where is it okay for you? And obviously the line is 0. The line is 0, but you will try to be... So when the line is 0, it means you have to do this as slowly as possible. And that is why medical testing in America is 10 years. No drug comes out until after 10 years of testing. This is also because of funding. So you can only have so many test subjects at such amount of time to figure out what's going on with something. So what happens is, with any drug, like, you'll have a couple months of testing, and then you have a couple months of poring over the data and seeing what you can improve on it, and then more testing and more testing. So you have, like, the theoretical phase, then you have the animal phase to prove your theory, and then you're going theoretical again, and then you eventually move on to human trials, and then you do the human trials, you just keep going and seeing what's working, what's not, is it enough to be worth making a drug out of it? And then eventually it's either a yes or a no. At any point it could be a no and you throw it away, but it could be a yes. And the thing is, there are side effects. And the side effects, the rare side effects, is the part where is the gray area for ethics. Was like, okay, so this is really bad for like 1 in 10,000 people. We just warned them, maybe, and it's their own choice if they take this drug or not. And so maybe it's okay. Or maybe it's 1 in 100,000, 1 in 1 million, 1 in 10 million, like a very rare thing. And so it's just, how many people are we willing to sacrifice for the greater good, for the bigger number? The needs of the many versus the needs of the few. That is the question there. And when you take it personally, the number is 0, no matter what, of course. Some people, the number is 1 if they're the sacrifice and no one else is. The people who are willing to jump on the wire, the people who are willing to jump on the grenade, those people. The people who are willing to jump into harm's way for others. To an extent, I am that. I am willing to risk myself to help others, but I'm less inclined to get myself killed these days. When I was younger, I was more inclined for it. We had this talk on vlog maybe a couple years ago about, do you have to die to become a hero, kind of thing. That'd be an interesting debate to talk about again in the future. But, yeah, question is, how many people is it okay to lose? How many people who did not deserve what's coming to them have to get it for all the people who deserve what's coming to them for it to get to them? And this can be spread out to many different things. But yeah, so I realized talking about this is, yeah, by the way, yeah, America, 10 years. The UK, 9 years for new drugs. Asia, 3 to 4 years. Asian testing is very different. They do human testing a lot faster. They also have a lot more people to test on if they want. This is the thing. Testing could be quicker. Testing could always be quicker if you have more funding and you have more volume, because the more numbers you do, the finer your details are, and just the more data you get. This is why it was okay with the pandemic, where it took 2 to 3 years to get the vaccine going. Because what was happening was many companies at the same time were trying to figure out how to do the vaccine. And we had very different ideas that were going out. Traditional style, new cutting edge ideas on how to do vaccine delivery. A lot of things were happening. And they went into animal testing immediately. And then they went into human testing as soon as possible. So for sure, there were people who voluntarily went into these tests and got burned pretty bad by it. So we could see what the worst side effects could be, do things to mitigate that, and just keep working on it. And eventually we got the vaccine. Here's the thing. The vaccine came out quick. I get the hesitance there. Here's the thing. Billions of dollars were spent on this. So they don't want this to fail. They spent billions on this so they can get returns on those billions they spent. It was a race to be first. It was a race to be correct, though, because, and this did happen, there were some recalls, is if the vaccine comes out and it hurts a lot of people, that is a death nail for a company. And I remember Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer had to recall at some point because somebody wasn't doing good quality testing. It was one of those companies, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, or Moderna. One of them, they used some sort of not good batch that they were using. Someone just was not being as stringent as they should be. And so it wasn't going to hurt people. It just wasn't going to be effective, if I remember correctly. So it was just, oh, I got the vaccine, but actually it wasn't useful. So now I got to get it again, or things like that. That's the reason why I knew it was going to be trustworthy. It was going to be trustworthy because there's too much money involved. When money's involved, they ain't going to blow it. They're going to try very hard not to. But because they were rushing, somebody messed up on quality control. So there was that to worry about for sure. But then it becomes luck of the draw whether you're one of the people when that happened or not. But it needed to be a real vaccine, it needed to be a good vaccine. Because, of course, the president was going to take it. Of course, politicians were going to take it. Important people were going to take this vaccine. They needed it to be good so they can get back to work. That's why I never doubted in that, because money is extremely important. Another controversial thing to push this into is, since we're talking about how many is enough, how many is it okay, is the question I ask right now is, how many innocent people is it okay to kill Hamas? That's the question I'm asking here. And this is the question we could have asked 20 years ago as well. How many innocent people was enough to kill the... Yeah, Al-Qaeda. It was Al-Qaeda. So many terrorist groups, you forget which one's which at the time, sometimes. Like, how many innocent people were enough to kill terrorist leaders? How many innocent people is enough to kill this, to kill that, to kill all these things? Because we do have times when the drone strikes hit the wrong people, or the drone strikes hit the bad people and also the wrong people. Here's the thing that we came up with, which is barbaric but efficient, and that was, we came up with these big old drones where they don't explode, they just shoot like a big old like blade. So you specifically take one person out and they'll kill anyone else. It's like something out of Saw. I can't remember all the details, but like how it looks. It's just a big old blade thing, goes out and only hits the target. So you can shoot this thing into a car, it goes to the windshield, goes past the driver and the passenger and hits the guy in the back seat. Because it'll make the movements the last second to get that shot, and only kills that dude. It looks barbaric, it looks horrific, but it minimizes casualties. It minimizes collateral damage. There are many times of stories where our engagement in Afghanistan and Iraq, where innocent people were killed because high tension, and how everyone was just really high tension is the best word for it. Like, everyone's just up and amped and really scared and things like that, where they see a car coming and they think it's terrorists, but it's actually just people lost on the effing road getting shot at. Like, they're lost on the road, they don't know there's a raid going on, they get shot at, some of them die, some of them don't. That's a lawsuit happening right now where there were these 3 dudes, they were just driving, they got lost, and then a bunch of soldiers shot at them to make them stop, but like they don't know what the hell gunshots are. They just hear a lot of gunshots and like, what the hell was that? And then they keep going forward, like it's supposed to be a warning shot to stop them. But they keep going forward. It's like, well, what are we supposed to do? Well, all we can do is go forward, and then the car gets shot up. 2 of them die, 1 guy survives. And he's doing a lawsuit right now because he survived, and it's effed up that they killed his friends and hurt him. It's an unfortunate thing. The thing is, it's very messy, very gray. There's just so much going on. You can talk about things like, of course, the war on drugs, where we were doing the war on drugs. We were trying to stop all the drugs. But at the same time, the CIA was keeping the drugs going because they're using drugs to pay different groups to keep, well, operations going. Then you got effed up things like the Chiquita banana stuff. You can look that up on your own because I'll explain it incorrectly. Basically, what happened was to keep Chiquita bananas going, so America kept getting their cheap bananas, some business guy went, oh yeah, there's terrorists here. And then, well, operations happened. A lot of attacking happened, a lot of explosions, and then things that were in favor of Chiquita banana happened. Is the vaguest way to put it, because it's a lot of bullshit to read through. You can find that on Wiki, easy find. Isn't it interesting how Wiki became so prominent? Like when I was in school, Wiki was not trustworthy. You couldn't trust Wiki because anyone could edit it. Now, yes, anyone can edit it, but there's just an army of people who are very, very ardent about making sure the correct stuff goes in there. Now, sometimes there'll be arguments and debates, and they'll be using bots to fight each other on edits and weird stuff like that. But for the most part, you can trust Wiki a lot better than you now, and people trust a lot more than they used to. Although real weird stuff can still happen at times. I remember one time, I never played Parasite Eve. So I read the wiki on Parasite Eve. And the version I read was that the main character, Parasite Eve, gets raped at the start of the game, and then she's dealing with her rape trauma, and all this other stuff happens. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. All right, that's weird. Then I talked about someone, they're like, what the fuck what are you talking about? Like, wait, what? And I go to the wiki and, oh, all that got edited out. Somebody just made a fake version of Parasite Eve and put it in there, and for the amount of time I was on there, I was reading that before it got corrected. That's the weird thing that happens with Wiki, though, where it can't be completely trustworthy because of weird stuff like that. Arguably, like, Wiki should be working with Encyclopedia Britannica or something, where you have the Wiki version, and then you have the pressed into permanent, cannot be edited Encyclopedia Britannica version. I think that partnership should have happened. That would have been very interesting if they did that, where it's just like, yeah, here's the wiki, and then here's the encyclopedia version, where it's set in stone, this is what happened. If there's more to add to this, we should have a council or something, but like, I don't know, like when you involve more people, it gets harder and harder to change things, but also to prove things and things like that. But I do feel like, at this point, Wiki is pretty useful as a resource to understand and learn things, especially because textbooks are influenced by Texas, and Texas isn't trustworthy for education. They've written some very important people out of history, which is not great. Why is Texas so prominent in textbooks? Because Texas is like one of the biggest purchasers of textbooks, and any textbooks, and for some reason textbooks in Texas get copied for the rest of America, which is weird. It's just all the printing's down there. So we're just influenced by Texas. And that's unfortunate, because Texas don't give a shit about a lot of things and a lot of people. Now you can say I'm being statist, I don't know, but at the same time, fuck Texas, I don't give a shit. Did I lose one of you 10 right now? I don't know. Alright, so what else is there? I think that's it. I was just thinking about that. Just thinking about how many is enough. Oh, right, one last thing. Let's talk about ethics one more time. So, ethics. The entire point of the train problem. Interesting thing. They finally asked a train guy what to do about the train problem. And his answer is the thing that I thought about, and I wonder if that would work. It is, you switch the train as the first half has gone across. When you do this, it creates a controlled derailment where the train won't flip or anything. It's supposed to be able to do this where it goes on both and stops. and now the train's been derailed. It's been derailed, it's been stopped, and we're good. Now, the answer to that, of course, is you put the bodies as close to the edge as possible so that you can't do that. If you don't know what the train problem is, because I should have explained that, there's a train. You're at the controls. If this train goes the way it's going right now, it will run over 5 people. If you move the rails, it'll run over 1 person instead. You have the controls here. So no matter what, with you here, someone or someones are going to die. And then you can just keep changing it and keep changing and keep changing it. Where it can be, all right, these 5 people are strangers. The 1 person is someone you know. Or the 5 people are this, the 1 person is that, etc., etc., etc. I like the train problem when they did it for COVID, which was, all right, so your train problem is 5 people die if you do things as normal, or you put a mask on and maybe no one dies. Or maybe 1 guy dies anyway because, well, it's better than 5. Here's the argument I wish I made years ago, which was better. It was my boss's argument for why he didn't want to have his kids get vaccinated, because he didn't want them to get sick, but also, what's the point in that? So I'm like, well, the point is herd. If all the kids but the kids who are allergic to the vaccine get it, then there's a good chance none of the kids get sick, and they don't get the kids who can't even have the vaccine get sick. He's like, well, some kids still get sick. I'm like, yeah. And I just let it go because he walked away at that point. But because I wasn't going to chase him down to keep going on this. But the thing is, like, it's better than all of them getting it, and then the kids who don't have the vaccine get sick too. Like, the entire point is minimizing numbers, not all or nothing. This is the important thing is, we would love black and white, I'm sure. Where we could go all or nothing, where we only kill the terrorists, we do not kill the innocents. I would love that, 100%, obviously, because innocents should not have to pay for what shitty people do. But the world we live in, it's not like that. And on the other way, too. In order to protect the few people who just cannot have the vaccine because they're allergic to it, or their body can't handle it, you need everyone else to get vaccinated. And I don't see the problem with that. I 1000% don't see the problem with that. Because it's trying to do the maximum. It's trying to do the maximum protection. Like, you will not save everyone. Some people are still going to get sick anyway. But it's better trying and minimizing than doing nothing. Because I made this argument on a vlog maybe 8 years ago. Which was, you give a homeless man a sandwich, and your friends will be like, oh yeah, that's going to solve the homeless problem. It's better than nothing, jackass. It really is. What are you doing? It is better to make inroads towards a better thing than to do nothing because that is such an impossible task. I saw something yesterday which is interesting, which is people told me what I'm doing is impossible. But I am possible. I was like, wow, that was very interesting. That was very interesting usage of language there. Just thinking about that too. So yeah, just talking about ethics. Interesting stuff there. I should really read Kant, but I also don't want to read Kant because, no. I took 1 ethics class and that was enough. Like, oh my god. Some of the things they went over in there. Like, it's interesting. You should do at least 1 ethics class, but do multiple? I don't know. I feel like you're just going to lose your mind. But, I don't know. Ethics is useful to consider, but there's a point when you should just, I don't know. Oh, right. The whole point of the trolley problem. The point of the trolley problem was, the entire point was for you to think, but also for you to understand the system is rigged. And that you should change the system. The idea was, you're in a situation where you're at the controls, 5 people die, 1 person dies. And you should be mad about that, to the point that you want to change the system where you're not in a situation where you have to make such a choice. Where no one's on the tracks. Things like that. That's the point. That's the actual point of that ethical question. So that's very interesting. So that's the vlog. I had fun talking, I had fun watching and listening, and that's what it's all about, having fun. Thanks for bye, and see you next time. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, 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 bye. And even Kirby hasn't not killed everyone, when you think about it. He could have saved Sectonia. Well, he couldn't. His only way to win with that was to kill her. Same thing goes for Holtman. But later on, Kirby's able to do something. We're saving people that way.